Inadequate.
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 Black guys in them, that's all.
Why come to make you feel inadequate? Feel inadequate? Feel inadequate?
No.
Did you have to wear those shoes?
Do you feel inadequate? Do you feel inadequate? Do you feel inadequate?
Do you feel enormous?
You.
Becky's got
19 weeks, can you believe?
I feel totally inadequate. No. Totally inadequate. No. Totally inadequate.
No, don't.
This is ridiculous.
To tell you that your shower system is totally inadequate. And I don't buy your theories about the body.
What's wrong? I feel so fucking inadequate. How can we tell people, stop?
Bottling up past trauma can lead to inadequate coping strategies in later life, apparently.
It is damned inadequate.
I wish you could die, sir.
Everyday language proved inadequate for all the olfactory experiences accumulating within himself.
Well, I'm no expert, but that sounds inadequate to me.
It is.
Criticize.
Criticize. Criticize.
Criticize.
Criticize.
Did you come to shoot, snipe, or criticize me? Criticize me. Criticize me.
Under my pillow until he fell asleep so I could eat them without being criticized. Criticized. Criticized.
Good.
Need salt. Nobody criticizes the Goose Father soup. It's go time, baby!
Pisses you off so much that you just want to get in there.
She criticize your technique the whole time?
Keep digging. When I criticize qualitative analysis, it's not because statistics.
Apparently their esteemed leader likes to send his acolytes out to follow, photograph and harass people who dare to criticize him.
Go.
You would honestly kill me because I dare to criticize the almighty Oliver Queen.
And your wife has every right to criticize.
I'm abusive? You are to me. I don't mean to criticize your parenting skills. It's just that when my son would misbehave, I would talk to him.
All right, you know what? Let's get something straight here, Chicago. I don't like it when Danny criticizes my driving. The same goes for you. You got it?
Even in a closed session, whatever I say will get out. I'll take hits in Iowa.
Can't criticize the mission. We need you to keep everyone calm.
Liquor stores.
Now, Miss Dunbar, with all due respect, you can criticize my programs as much as you want.
Capacity.
Capacity.
Capacity. Capacity.
Capacity.
This capacity has never been a detriment to my work.
I mean, now that you can't. Not that that reflects on you in any negative capacity. But I have this little Vesson-type problem.
Security will be taking point on this investigation. NYPD will act in a support capacity.
Hassle. You cannot be involved in this at all, even in your private investigator capacity.
Sir, we never would have gotten this far without...
Oh, no, actually, she's right. Rules.
You letting the bad guys stay alive this year has filled the jails up to capacity.
That's neat to know. Suffice it to say, I have need of a man of your capacity.
Thinking about this. I seem to have an increased capacity for learning right now.
How do we know you read all these books?
Use your hands. You're you because of your brain. It's your brain's capacity to process information that makes you who you are.
I've given further consideration to your rebuke regarding my capacity for niceness.
Now, since you calculated the capacity of my guns, I've endeavored to improve Florence's odds.
I don't have the authority. In your capacity as Chancellor. You know what?
Nina's not for sale in any capacity. Not now, not ever.
Please.
Even if the backstays hold at such an angle, and I wager they won't, the load on the sails will exceed capacity and she'll dig in hard at the bow.
She'll hold.
Draw.
Draw. Draw. Draw. Draw.
We'll call it a draw! Draw! Draw!
Call it a draw?
Draw. Draw. Draw.
Draw the bow. Draw the bow. Draw the bow.
So here is the deal. I need you out there to draw her to you.
Good instincts. You draw from your own experiences.
Bobby, shall we call it a draw?
Oh, what is that? Brody's favorite operetta? Do I have to draw you a treasure map?
Derek, what can you do?
I can fall down.
Okay, great. Draw some fouls. Harvard, what do you got?
Professionals, right? They know better than to take the bottom bills from the cash drawer.
That's why they're all leaving town. That's why they killed McMurtry, to draw him out.
To what? Draw him out in the open so you could take him down yourself?
He had to draw on me. And he saved my life.
Looking to cause a little mayhem. Draw shield out. When instead, you came to me.
I made straws, short one crosses, draw.
Swift.
Swift. Swift. Swift. Swift.
Draw us to pick up the ransom? You're not too swift. Too swift. Too swift.
Tonight, I give you my most solemn vow that justice will be swift, swift, swift. It will be righteous.
Companions, so that his death may be swift, maybe swift, maybe swift, and merciful.
Thanks.
For what?
For nothing. For the swift kick in the ass.
You are a brave and loyal dog. May the wind travel with you. May your journey be swift, while you carry the hope of all the she with you this dawn. Go now.
Stuart is cunning. Uraji, if the queen is alive, find her, and for all our sakes, make it swift.
I think the universe dispenses swift justice.
Oh, he speaks.
Oh, you mean Deke? He's got the flu. It's everywhere. No one can shake it. It's like Taylor Swift.
Justice is not always as swift as we want it to be.
Markov as president of the Republic of Uzbekistan. His swift rise to power came on the heels of the sudden death of former President Zelensky last month.
I'm sure your death would neither be swift nor painless.
What do you want? If you confess your sins to the world, your death will be swift, merciful.
Classic.
Classic. Classic.
Classic. Classic.
It's a classic, a classic, a classic.
I promise I'll treat her like she was my very own.
Now,
I don't know. Really? I thought your brother would have told you. It's a classic. Classic. Classic.
It was classic Julie Baker. Classic Julie Baker. Classic Julie Baker. She totally dominated the fair.
Dude, you've got to call me. That was classic. Oh, man.
This movie, I think it's going to be a very good one. There's never been a classic movie made in Bruges until now.
Here's day, New York. Nurse your hangover with this classic from Traffic.
Last night, I had this dream where I was reading a book. Okay, it was a lost classic, The Rovers.
The Rovers?
Yeah, like
15 minutes that we've been here. It's a classic self-comforting posture, an attempt to neutralize the distress signals being sent by your limbic system.
All within. It's classic devil worship as far as I'm concerned, but we're hoping you have another explanation.
Right, you know. Classic counterintelligence. I told you I didn't plant that story.
What? This is a classic medical test. 15.
Yeah, 8 years ago.
Then it should be a classic.
Urban.
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 How about a black guy?
Oh, I like that. It's very urban. It's very urban. It's very urban. Very street.
well, I haven't seen it. Haven't seen many Jews around there either.
Well, they're mostly urban. Urban.
You remind me of a story.
An urban legend, perhaps.
Industrial flavor.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking to my girl Savannah about.
Really trying to get the urban flavor in there for the tweens.
I went to this camp thing just this past summer.
They have a camp for graffiti?
Well, they call it urban art.
And I just spent $7 on this delicious urban food log, so if you'd step aside and let me eat, that'd be great.
Excuse me? Chupacabra. The urban legend Chupacabra. That Chupacabra?
Fantastic. Well, outside. I mean, it's not a loft really. It's just more urban. Not that I'm urban, but I used to be. It's got 2 bedrooms, got wonderful views. It's a great place.
As Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Jeffrey Mitchener is number 12.
She loved the playlist that you made for me. She was so impressed with my collection of urban music that she let me go down on her.
Liable.
Liable. Liable. Liable. Libel.
Herself or someone else. I mean, I'm no lawyer, but wouldn't a hospital be liable? Liable? Liable?
He's a dangerous guy. Now, I've warned you. If anything happens to her, you're liable. You're liable. You're liable.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the perfect legal trap. They're liable, they're liable, they're liable because the religion wouldn't let them act.
It's a relief for them, isn't it? The hospital isn't liable anymore, I am.
Well, things are liable to get a whole lot rougher.
Besides, he holds a grudge. He's liable to blackmail me and bail him out.
Hey, you keep your wife out here, someone's liable to steal her.
Oh, you promise? See you inside.
Hey, Lila, come on! Lila, they have our credit card. We're liable for the damages.
Arrhythmia, muscle tremors, and yes, mental changes. If his heart doesn't rupture, he's liable to rip it out and give it away.
Guys, if the truth about the defect came out, then Modesto would be liable for hundreds of millions of dollars in damages.
He knew they'd stop at nothing to get it back.
Get that hose over to the north face and we're liable to lose the whole block!
Hey, be careful. There's liable to be aftershocks. Oh, I'm counting on it.
Keep my promises.
Keep on lying like that. You're liable to get struck by lightning again. Get up to the lab. Start processing the evidence from the gun store.
Proportion. Proportion.
Proportion.
Proportion.
Proportion.
Mr. Castle, I'm sure that this is being blown out of proportion, but I'll be candid.
But these past few days, we've had a storm of epic proportions, an infestation.
Because he realized that this creation of his pride and joy, was a failure of epic proportions. Epic proportions. Epic proportions.
Yeah, but you painted like pancakes. They're way out of proportion.
Well, I thought perhaps maybe I could use just a small proportion of it.
We need to ask you to step off the study. I'm sure it's all blown out of proportion, but we can't have you on the payroll now.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. No, you were totally perfectly in proportion to your height.
This is an opportunity of magnanimous proportions to me. How's that? I'm finding my next step in the organization.
Sir, I swear to God, there was an arsenal of immense proportions in this van this morning.
Ambling nymph, I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature.
Pretties just end up dead. Besides, if word of this gets out, it could spark an international incident of epic proportions.
He's gonna tell Esposito. Esposito can't keep his mouth shut with Ryan, and Ryan's gonna blow it out of proportion. And then Gates is gonna find out we won't be able to work together anymore.
Goes down. Okay, but you realize that this is an accusation of monster proportions, massive proportions, right?
We need evidence. We need rock solid. You're blowing this out of proportion.
Watch yourself.
When I worked for you in Congress, you always told me to be straight up with you.
Barely.
Barely. Barely.
Barely.
Barely.
Freaking cold. He barely spoke. He barely spoke. He barely spoke.
Was a threat to me. You barely defeated Malcolm Merlin at nearly the cost of your own life.
Julie okay?
Barely. Barely. Barely.
Charles Graves! Hey! Got time for an old pal?
Barely.
Technology has barely touched Mira Devi's daily life.
I meant about not going to college.
Not really. I barely even think about it.
Sweetheart, this does not play to my strength.
So I'm supposed to spend the afternoon with someone I barely know?
It holds.
Barely.
Has he said anything about what happened?
No. He's barely said anything.
Dad, it's been 3 weeks. You barely eat or sleep. You should probably go home at some point.
Analysis which I'd done before I knew who it was. I barely knew him.
We've heard the same stories as you.
Well, we've both searched so long for a thing we barely understand.
Vanish.
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 Vanish. Vanish.
We're at level, sir.
Good. Let's vanish. Let's vanish. Let's vanish.
Engage retro reflection panel.
You are demented if you think these charges will simply vanish, vanish, vanish.
They must. Those kids are the key to everything, Lieutenant. And 44 people don't just vanish inside of a sealed bunker.
Clearly you meant it when you said you didn't deserve your family, for now you would vanish on us.
We were here. That was enough. We're wasting time. The others didn't just vanish into thin air. They were taken. And we need to go after them.
How does that happen? How does one specific part of your memory just vanish?
I think it was the cat scratch.
For some kind of luck or guile or fucking sorcery, did he reach across an ocean and make $5 million in gold vanish?
No, he really doesn't exist.
How does a body just vanish from a morgue?
I don't know.
For pinky rings and Panerai watches, who mysteriously vanished in 1978. Come on!
Right down to the fact that Castle knew Cardano, knew he could make cars vanish.
So...
Far out. Whoever dumped it there probably never wanted it to be found. Probably figured wild boars would vanish.
Okay, we get an ID on our Vic.
I don't understand. How could he vanish without a trace?
Definitely was not in the plan.
Breathe, Swan. She's a guest. The King's head would vanish to another realm if you didn't invite her.
Yeah, good point.
Identical.
Identical. Identical. Identical.
Identical.
Connection between subjects with identical iris patterns. Identical iris patterns. Identical iris patterns.
Got it?
You buy the identical scarf that Christine gave you and then hide it behind a drawer? How intriguing.
That's the same list of names. It's identical. It's identical. It's identical.
Yeah, precisely. They're identical.
See, the reason that I found the identical DNA in the two separate kaiju organs...
Whoever she is identical to me. Mum, you're freaking me out. You were a twin. You are an identical twin.
The keys on it are identical to the ones from...
They seem identical.
What?
This was...
The Grace, sistership, solace. What I understand, they're practically identical.
It will, if they have identical stability sequences on either side, and...
Identical in weight, equal in force. United they stand. A union like none other.
Recession.
Recession. Recession.
Recession.
Recession.
Fears of a second recession have caused panic in Europe's financial markets.
The severity of this recession will cause...
Yes, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
That's a recession. That's a recession. That's a recession. Okay?
Married.
Okay, I know you're nervous, but believe me, this neighborhood is a terrific investment, even in a recession.
It's a West Village.
Talk about cash injection.
Here we go again.
We can't nationalize the banks.
It's not national.
That's how Japan got itself a decade-long recession. Is that where we want to go?
My father's hair.
In South Beach, Miami. Never a bad investment.
Even in a recession.
I don't understand any of your legal mumbo-jumbo, but...
Easy. I think the 80s recession was a lot more glamorous.
The NHL this year, obviously, a very big cause for concern. Canada's in a recession.
Dylan charges 10 recession prices, because they told me to tell you that too.
And that you have no trouble in moving this.
It's only a recession for some people.
Focus.
Focus.
Focus. Focus. Focus.
Still, I need you to focus 100% on this job.
Trust me, sir. I can do the job and do the girl. Date the girl.
A job to do. I know you're worried about Octavia, but you have to focus. Focus. Focus.
With 3 legs because a predator gets confused by 3 different points of focus. Focus. Focus.
What are you doing? You can dance with him later. Focus on the plate. Come on.
If things were to get crazy, just focus on their boots, focus on their voices, and we'll be all right.
Julie, out of my mind. You keep the focus on the important stuff like schoolwork.
I can't even focus anymore.
Focus only on that.
Focus on me.
You can do this.
Yes, you can. You're strong.
Good. Plus, now that this lawsuit's been settled, we can focus our attention on Unidac Industries.
Come on, Barry. You can do it.
There. Focus.
I am.
Son. You're getting frustrated.
Just focus. Sky, look at me. Focus.
It'll stop.
Intention.
Intention.
Intention. Intention.
Intention.
Details, my suggestion. His intention to default on all loans from the Medici Bank, unless Carice.
Oh look, I don't care how I smell. I'm not going to sleep.
I have no intention of stopping you. I have no intention of stopping you. I have no intention of stopping you. I mean, what you're doing to your body isn't healthy. You know, especially...
Every intention of torturing and murdering him.
You don't mind if I call you M?
My mother called that it was time to go. Julie, let's go. We're late. I went out in the hall with every intention of telling her that I wasn't going to Losky's for dinner.
My husband will be back. Your husband just won a heck of a lot of money from me. By the look in his eye, he didn't have an intention to quit. Yes?
I beg you, please forgive me. I had no intention of being in any way disrespectful.
Trick. No, I wouldn't be surprised if he had no intention of coming here at all. I'm telling you, brother, the man's a lunatic and a coward.
Your confidence as a thief is beguiling.
Yes, but I have no intention of being recognized on the road to Florence.
Why would you grant me such a prize if you had no intention of discussing peace?
Apprehend that man.
So, take it from someone who has spent incrementally more time with him than you. He has zero intention of meeting us for dinner this evening.
What are you talking about?
Shh.
You are now worth more to him as part of a very dangerous game here on the island. As such, he has no intention of returning you to your father anytime soon.
Overnight.
Overnight.
Overnight. Overnight.
Overnight.
Miss Penny, they're going to keep them overnight. The doc would like to check them out in the morning.
Don't be so hard on yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. Overnight.
People think that she was an overnight success, overnight success, overnight success. She really wasn't. You know, she was working at it her whole life.
Overnight time locks go down in 2 minutes.
Once. The market's like Buffett. His name will push the price up overnight.
You know, I don't care who he is.
Yeah, well, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight.
Get that diploma, Max. Graduation's tomorrow, and if you stay overnight, you can walk with the class in the morning.
I coughed on the phone once and she overnighted me soup. When I wanted to learn how to ski, she knit me a sweater.
It will make us the world leader of clean energy overnight.
Howie, what happened to you?
We did overnight survival training in the wilderness.
The bill passed overnight. I'm trying to sell your shares as fast as I can.
My boat's out of the water. Anyway.
I'm having them fix it overnight.
Beggar.
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 Bigger. Bigger.
The next thing I know, you're going to be asking me to high five
Leo,
you.
do you want help or not? Beggars can't be choosers.
Right. Sorry.
I'm like a starving beggar who's been given food. I unhappy. No.
It's yours.
$30,000? What am I? Do I look like a beggar? Beggar? Beggar?
Getting to go home. Cakes and puddings. Lucky beggars. Still, we'll have a nice time.
You always say that. Lucky beggars. You always say that.
Who lack not virtue, no, nor power, but that which we have given to beggars.
Well, no more.
No more words, we beseech you.
Who are you to speak to me?
Who am I? Beggar.
Arrest every gypsy in Provence, and every beggar, and every man without a wife and family!
So what will it be? Beggars under an old captain.
Yesterday, Captain Hornigold was immovable from that fault, and Captain Vane was a beggar.
Poverty was unimaginable.
Streets filled with beggars, children running around in tatters.
You're not eating shrimp for Thanksgiving.
Beggars can't be choosers, bro.
Actually, they can. I have a contingency plan.
Allow.
Allow. Allow.
Allow.
Allow.
I need to give them a real shot.
I cannot allow this. Cannot allow this. Cannot allow this.
Allow me, allow me, allow me to buy us all a drink.
Without that certainty, I cannot allow a jury under my purview to subvert the First Amendment.
So on terms on both sides have to be on it. If they're not and I allow that, I'm asking chaos to take control of my life.
I've got 9 active duty soldiers on that jury. I will not allow you to waste their time.
Is there something wrong?
I don't think so, is there? I think I'd like to leave now.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't allow that, Mr. Dolan.
But in court, we do have to go by the rules. Let me ask something I think Mrs. Floric will allow me to ask.
And just when he's about to resign himself to his miserable, doomed fate, we allow the son of a bitch to escape with his life.
Some people are victims because they allow themselves to be.
That's right, Shane. Don't allow it. Eat the bear.
I have nowhere to go. Do you think that you could allow me to stay in your garage while I figure out what the fuck I'm doing with my life?
2 days.
This station is being built here because of its proximity to what we believe to be an almost limitless energy. And that energy, once we can harness it correctly, it's going to allow us to manipulate time.
Airline.
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 It's like they left in a hurry, but they didn't take their cars.
Cab to the airport.
Eric, see if there's any airline reservations under their names.
The dead woman's name is Sharon Walker.
According to airline records, she was traveling with a man we think is carrying the virus, Jared Prodman.
So Pan American World Airways.
Pan American.
La meilleure compagnie aérienne de tous les temps. The best airline that ever will be.
Who is it? One of the airlines? I heard a jet went off the runway at O'Hare.
No.
That stuff's bullshit. I once ordered the extra tall carry-on bag, and it was too extra tall to fit in the overhead compartment, so they made me check it. Then the airline lost the bag.
The only reason I'd buy a plane ticket under my name with my credit card is if I wanted someone to think I'd left the country.
The airline confirmed that he got on the plane.
The airline confirmed someone with Holt's ticket got on the plane.
Oceanic Airlines, Flight 815. I'm Syed Jarrah.
Guy's got nerves of steel, man. He survives a full-on commercial airliner crash. Now he's back flying over the same South Pacific.
Yeah, well, I flew down to bring his body back, but then the airline lost it.
I regret nothing except this part.
This is the last airline that would take us.
Soul.
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 The sole purpose, sole purpose, sole purpose.
It's all yours. You're my sole heir, Nick. You're my sole heir, Nick. You're my sole heir, Nicholas. I want you to have everything.
There's no politician who's going to sign off on a bailout. Why would you bail out people whose sole job is to make money?
Waters. And she was known as America's little darling, the sole heiress of the Waters fortune, estimated in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
The Comte has named you, Madame, as the sole inheritor of his estate.
I have lost 17 tanks and a battalion of men leveling Amblève for the sole purpose of reducing the enemy's will to fight.
Words, merely words, shall be my sole legacy.
Up suddenly when it comes to
a criminal organization whose sole purpose is to sell drugs.
With Lorenzo and Clarice both absent, your son is the sole representative of their bloodline.
Technology whose sole purpose is to make Starling City a healthier and safer place. Now, I am not saying that I should be the sole decider of who you mate with. If you're not attracted to the suitor, then the likelihood of conception will be reduced.
Is that leather?
Mm-hmm. It's a piece from the sole of a shoe.
Innocent.
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 Innocent. Innocent.
You and your uncle murdered 3,000 innocent people. Innocent people. Innocent people.
And you helped save the lives of a lot of innocent people. The innocent people. The innocent people.
Which is the smart thing to do. You're starting to think for yourself.
I went around the door, all innocent up until that point. Innocent, 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 looking for the key. Total innocence, total innocence.
Yeah.
Through the window, your butt.
Pervert.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But
millions of innocent lives were lost.
I know how pathetic that sounds now, but it was innocent enough, and then real life kicks in, and...
After I was hit by a drunk driver who was found innocent.
Drunk. I betrayed a man. A good man. An innocent man. A thief.
Just children, Doctor. Pure, innocent souls.
He was in prison. And like your dad, he was innocent.
You know he's innocent.
Do what you're talking about and he won't be.
But he'll still be alive.
You understand?
And her husband. She's innocent.
Thanks, Kent.
You're welcome, Jean.
Look, we just...
Reserve.
Reserve. Reserve.
Reserve.
Reserve.
We won't. We don't have their own reserves. Reserves.
Sky hasn't had a chance to build up her fat reserves for the winter.
You didn't have to tell me about that reserve tank. But he did.
Come on, Chad. We reserved the Marco Polo suite for you.
My birthday is this weekend. I don't think we could do any of these things on a game reserve.
The game reserve is out.
Single malt reserve works pretty good.
laptop and Nadine's work bag. I checked her browser history. Guess who paid a visit to the new Reserve Bank website yesterday at 9:47 a.m.?
So she's a hacker too.
Court records show that she hacked a database at the New York Federal Reserve looking for proof that the Fed colluded with big banks.
It's a TDK money transfer truck coming from the Federal Reserve Bank in St. Louis.
I just got a call from Joe. The Central City Gold Reserve is about to transport $300 million in gold bars to their Coast City vault.
Please, this is the only way. We're on reserve power. We have to hurry.
Dawson, stay back. Get yourself a supply line over to the hydrant before the engine's reserve runs out, okay?
Loud and clear.
Consideration.
Consideration. Consideration. Consideration.
Consideration.
Thank you for your consideration. Consideration. Consideration.
Now, what did you say that thanks for your considering? Genius! I'll reserve judgment for now. I'll take your arguments into consideration, and I'll have a decision within a few hours.
Decisions that are best not for me, but for the people. And so, after much consideration,
Yeah, looks like no one's around.
Yeah, well, I'll take this under consideration, okay?
After due consideration, it is the ruling of this court.
Thank you, Captain, for your consideration. It's nothing.
Your preference will certainly be taken into consideration.
Provided you give consideration to my needs.
That I know of. Look, I don't want to make a thing of it. I'm just asking for a little consideration, that's all.
Believe what you want, that's what he said. Okay, maybe you're not taking into consideration the fact that this guard...
To the hospital.
Maybe we'll get lucky and he'll drop dead before it's a consideration.
Anyway, taking into consideration a century's worth of foliage growth and terrain shifts.
Tangential ramifications that you must take into consideration.
Cocaine. Either we can search your house, or you can produce the cocaine, and your cooperation will be taken into consideration.
Hollow.
Hollow. Hollow.
Hollow.
Hollow.
When you're in that place, and then you listen to that song, and you know you're not in that place anymore, and it makes you feel hollow, hollow, hollow.
This is definitely hollow. Definitely hollow. Definitely hollow.
Looks like sexual assault. We found her clothing down below in the hollow, in the hollow, in the hollow.
Weeks ago, he brought with him an offer of peace.
A hollow offer?
You killed his men.
Ah, for free? Why don't you just hollow her out and live inside of her, you monster?
And I need a cannula. It's like a hollow needle.
So you're telling me that DC's really all about hollow victories and career advancement, Agent Warren?
Oh, what a lovely hollow offer.
But I find I cannot ruin the estate or hollow out the title for the sake of Mary, even with a better man than that.
Hollow point. Son of a bitch.
Seen shots like that before.
If we give in now, the public won't credit you with a victory, not even a hollow one. They'll chalk it up as a colossal defeat.
Well, that's on you, Frank.
Tone.
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 Dawn.
Ringtone. Nice ringtone. Nice ringtone. Who gets that?
Oh, my mother-in-law, my daughter programmed it.
We have a particular tone here.
I can do tone. I have a much better tone.
I'll even round it out with old trusty.
Not the flannel.
Nice muted tones.
No.
Jake.
What's Nintendo? Just get me to the 5-tone, Tommy.
I was wondering if you would not talk to me in that tone.
Oh. Yes, of course.
Up.
Continue with that tone, and I will take my business elsewhere.
Now, what's wrong?
Nothing recently. Watching this is more precautionary than anything else.
Yet your tone is telling me it's more than just a heads up.
Then it's
Kind of douchey.
Hey, I really wish that you wouldn't talk about my boyfriend in that tone, okay?
Understand?
Clones.
Oh, yeah. You hear that dial tone? My clones are off the hook. Check this out.
So is this gonna be a regular thing with you?
What is with your tone?
Morning.
Now, make sure you listen to the tone of the cuckoo on this one.
I don't find your tone appropriate, Detective.
I didn't appreciate the tone of your voicemail last night.
I told you, you chose the wrong time.